Hey everybody, Jittery-Jay here. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Today we have yet another edition of the Ricky Gervais Show. This one is Season 2, Episode 7, entitled Nightclub. So before we get started, as always, we're going to hit the original video with a like and subscribe. This one is from Tianshu Li. Seems to have better sound than the ones that come directly from the Ricky Gervais Show, but I always go back and leave a like on those as well, just out of habit. But it's the easiest way to show support for these channels. And speaking of showing support, the easiest way is with a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to see me react to, and I will get to it as soon as possible. Titles work best for me. Make sure you tap the notification bell. I always try to leave a notice in the community tab on my channel of the videos that are coming up the next day. So the only ones I don't are the ones that I get to right away. And then I just drop them. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Let's get into this.
For the past few years, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, and Carl Pilkington have been meeting regularly for a series of pointless conversations. This is one of them.
Testing. Is that all right? Hello and welcome to the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant. Hello. And the little round-headed buffoon that is Carl Pilkington.
All right. That gets me every time. Now, somebody told me there's a different beginning in season 3, so I'm waiting to see that one. See how that one starts out. So we'll see what happens.
Carl, as you're aware, you've obviously got many celebrity fans, and you've also got a new fan, Warwick Davis, who is the short actor that many people will see in films like Return of the Jedi. He also is in Harry Potter. He's 3'6", and Ricky and I worked with him recently. And far from asking us about the many celebrity names that we've worked with, the only person he was interested in talking about, of course, Mr. K. Pilkington.
He wanted to meet you, Carl.
Yeah. Well, is he all right to get on with?
Why wouldn't he be?
Just because sometimes when people aren't normal, it's just...
Sorry?
No, I just mean when someone... Like, I've met a few little people in my time. The one that I met a little fella once, and he was all right. He got drunk really quick. But he was all right, but it took me by surprise. Only because, like I've said about when I met Steve for the first time, it's only that same thing. And then if I lived with the little fella, I'm sure we'd get on a storm.
What do you mean when you met
There's
Steve?
a TV show waiting to happen.
Things wear off. That's like the world, right? Isn't it? And it's the same with the little fella you're talking about. First time I see him, I'd be a little bit like, oh, what do you say? Whereas once you get to know him, I'm sure he'd be a lovely little fella.
I don't know where to start, Steve.
Warwick asks, really, what are your thoughts on short people, particularly in entertainment? Because, of course, they've, throughout the ages, made an appearance, particularly in fiction. Tom Thumb, of course, the Oompa Loompas.
What do I think of them?
He's just wondering, I suppose, what your take is.
They're all right. I mean, when I was on jury duty, every day I'd sort of see one pop in, and he'd be sort of struggling getting on the chair. And he'd sort of, he wasn't struggling in a way that he felt uncomfortable. He'd obviously climbed a lot of chairs in his time, and this was just another one. And watching him, it just makes you...
That put me so much in the mind of my our little fat little dog trying to get up on the recliners. Every once in a while she'll take a run and jump and she'll bounce right off of it because she can't quite get up that high. And they're not really high off the ground. They're only like a foot and a half off the ground. But she's only about 6 inches off the ground, so that doesn't help. Poor thing. That's what that put me in the mind of. Is her trying to jump up on her recliner and bouncing off of the damn thing.
And this was just another one. And watching him, it just makes you think. You go, I should appreciate that I don't have that problem every time I have to sit down and what have you. But I don't think it's that bad. If I had to pick being really tall or really small, I'd go for the really small one because, the world's a more interesting place for them, isn't it? Everything's bigger. Do you know what I mean? We go to New York and go, wow, look at this. And they go and they go, oh, dear. Do you know what I mean? Everything's a lot bigger. Everything's more amazing. Food portions. Everything's a bonus. So out of the two, I'd be small, and maybe that's what I'd chat to Warwick about for a bit, just to get to know him.
Brilliant.
It's a shame in a way that he's not been able to pop in. I'd like to hear that conversation.
But I've got, speaking of like weird stuff and that, I've got a new.
Well, we weren't, but go on.
Speaking
got
of
a new
weird
book. Do you know I had that?
Speaking of weird stuff, no, they're not weird. They're just people like everyone else. I can see what he's talking about though. It's Carl.
I've got a new.
Well, we weren't, but go on.
No, got a new book. Do you know I had that Freaks book, Top 50 Freaks? Got a new one sent to me.
Really?
Yeah, and do you know like everything normally has a name. So like if it's the two-headed fella, they're all nicknames like that, aren't they?
They've got two nicknames, I imagine.
But this new book I've got, right, on the cover of this one, it's got like a woman with three breasts, right? And she's called the three-breasted woman,
okay.
as you'd expect. The one face.
Why is she posing nude, though? That's what I want to know.
Tart.
Well, she looked happy. And there was a fella with like one face but two bodies.
Doing one face but two bodies.
One face, two bodies.
What do you mean one face, two bodies?
Surely one head, two bodies.
Ed as well, but it was mainly the face. That was weird because he looked fed up.
What are you talking about? How
What
can
are
you
you
have
talking
a face
about?
without a head?
How can you have? What do you mean? How did it join to the net?
No, he did have a head, but the fact is, it was weird that it had one face to me.
What do you mean?
Well,
if you've
of
got
course
one
he had-
head, you'll have one face.
Yeah, I know, but it was the fact that he had one face and two bodies that I didn't think.
But
one
why do you
head-
keep saying one face and two bodies as
Why
opposed
not
to
one
one
head?
head and two bodies? We're all the man with one face.
Yeah, but
Alright.
I've got one body.
Yeah, well, surely he's the man with two bodies then. Again, the description.
Roll up, see the man with one face.
So it's full of stuff like that, right? And what I'm saying is that fella, the one-faced man, the three-breasted woman.
He wouldn't be known as the one-faced man, is what I'm saying.
Well,
that
all-
isn't the peculiar thing about him.
Well, they all had names like that.
Right.
But there was one thing in it that didn't even have a nickname. It was so weird.
What do you mean?
Oh
It
no!
just said unidentified.
What does it look like?
Sort of testicles for eyes. That's. It just reminded me when you
What
talked
do you
about
mean
strange.
testicles fries?
And what is it? Did he have a normal body?
I didn't even look at that. No,
So-
that's what I'm saying though. You're attracted to the oddness of the thing, and that's what I was saying about Warren when he walks in.
Warwick.
It'll be odd for a minute, and then I'm sure
For him it will be, yeah.
He'll get used to you.
I've got my head round it a bit more, and the way that there's loads of people in the world, and yet you don't see people with like dangly eyes more often. It amazes me.
I love the fact that he's amazed by not seeing freaks.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He's walking down the street going, oh, everyone's got one head. That's weird.
Suzanne, see any dangly eyes today? No, me neither.
It's weird, isn't it? What's going on in the world?
Oh Jesus! I gotta take a breather. My face hurts. Oh my goodness! Like I said, it's Carl. Carl's imagination is out there. I mean, he takes so many things to heart. Like his book of freaks, he takes all of them. He takes all of those to heart, and he memorizes them. That's what's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, back to this.
Went out the other night with the lads. There's a few of us, young, free and single.
Must look like the Swingers.
Oh, it was pretty. It looked like a boy band had gone out. It looked like,
Really?
It looked like NSYNC had hit the streets.
right,
Yeah.
Excellent.
A friend of mine said, let's go to a club. Right, I haven't been to a nightclub for a long time. Actually, I haven't been.
Is that because your glasses steam up when you walk in out of the cold?
That is a problem in the winter. It's very difficult to make a good impression when as you walk in, your glasses steam up straight away, and you know, you got to take them off and clean
Been
them
there.
and stuff. And then, you know, you get a bit
On
dirty.
your wife front, you pull your wife front
what?
up through the
Haven't
jeans
been
and
there.
clean them on that.
Or the back of a girl's dress. But we cruised down to the club. It's one of those big sort of London super clubs. And it's a bit of a queue. I think it's a bit of a chore. But we're queuing up. We're in good spirits. We're looking at it. It sounds pretty funky. We can hear the music coming out. You know, been in the queue for quite a while, 25 minutes.
Forget it. 25 minutes.
Well, yeah. We were pretty excited by this point. The doorman says, hello, lads. I said, yeah, we're coming, please. He went, no, you're not. I went,
Really?
What? He said, you're not coming in. And he just immediately lifted the little rope and sent us away from the queue, right? And we were slightly perplexed. We were dumbfounded. We didn't know what to do. It was like this couldn't be happening. It didn't make sense. We just queued up what was going on. And so my friend said, well, we've got to find out why he's not going to let us in. So he goes back over.
I know what you wanted to do. You wanted to tie him up with logic. That'll show a bouncer.
Exactly.
Yeah, show him how educated you are and how you can win an argument and make him look stupid. You'll be in that club in no time.
That's what they appreciate.
That's a good idea.
Because what they respect is being made to look like a fool.
Way to get pounded into the pavement too. Oh my goodness, this is great.
So we went over and
They really look up to intellectuals.
exactly, yeah. So one of our mates goes over and he says, why didn't you let us in? And he went, because you didn't have any girls with you. No. No, I'll tell you this. That's kicking you when you're down. Because when you're out on a Saturday night trying to get into a club to meet women, and the reason you're not allowed to go in a club to meet women is because you haven't got any women with you, that's just salt in the wound. It's so
Right.
humiliating. So, a friend of mine says that there's a VIP entrance over there. There was like a woman with a clipboard, you know, the guest list. Separate entrance. She said, you know, you've got a little bit of profile, Steve. Why don't we try and use your...
You
little bit
ran
of
home,
celebrity?"
got your Golden Globe in your Emmy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I always carry, you know, some of my cuttings with me.
Yeah.
And I felt a bit self-conscious about that. I was thinking, I'm not into this, you know, it's a bit awkward. But he said, look, don't worry, you just stand here. Just stand here, just like you're having a conversation. I'll go over, I'll point him out, I'll go, oh, there's, you know, Steve Merchant over there, at the office. Or whatever.
Oh, God, Steve.
So I thought, well, you know, the thing is, we were out, and I was a bit frustrated, and I thought, you know, we may as well try everything. So I stand there. If my friend goes over and he has a word, and he comes back and he says, it's fine. She can't let us in the VIP entrance because she's not allowed, but what she can do is walk us to the front of the queue, right? You can walk to the front of the queue and explain. So I think, okay, fine.
Oh, God.
So we walk past everyone else, right, to the front of the queue, right? She goes up to the guy, she says, this is Steve Merchant office. The guy goes, I know he is, we're not letting him in. Oh, God! By now, of course, some people have recognised me, so they're trying to have my photo taken. So there's people inside the line that's being allowed in the club. I've got to lean across the rope to have my photo taken with them, even though I'm not allowed in the club. So they go, oh, all right, this is Steve, they're having the photos taken, like camera phones and that. They're going into the club where the music, the party's kicking off. I'm outside waiting for the next chump who wants to have his photo taken. I mean, it was mental. So
That's unbelievable.
I was furious, and then one guy, I remember he was chatting, and he goes, "Oh yeah, brilliant! I love the podcast and all that stuff. I love. Is Carl with you?" I said, "Oh, Carl's not out here." And his girlfriend, she went, "Who's that?" And he went, "Oh, it's just Steve Merchant. He does the office. He does the thing." And she went, "Who cares? Who are you, Bruce Forsyth?" And it's that thing when suddenly I'm being humiliated and embarrassed by someone's girlfriend. I never asked for that. I never asked for her opinion on me. I'm sorry if I don't impress you, if I'm not sufficiently famous for you, but it's not my fault. It's your girlfriend who brought it up. It was like I'd gone over to her and tried to show off, and she was annoyed. So by now I was just furious. So I thought, forget this.
Well, I was walking down the street, and there's a group of builders sitting down having a cup of tea. One of them goes, "All right, Rick." I went, "All right, mate." The other one went, "Not as fat as on telly." I went, "Oh, thanks." Not as fat as on telly. So he went with, "Well, you are fat, but you look even fatter on telly." He didn't say, "Oh God, you don't look fat at all," or "Oh, you look big on telly, but you don't look fat." Just went with, "Not as fat as on telly."
Yeah.
And there's nothing I could say, but cheers, mate.
Oh my god. People like that just get on my nerves. They can't accept a compliment. They have to think of a negative thing that is in their minds they think is being portrayed something negative. If that makes any sense. I'm not really sure how to enunciate what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's people that always take a compliment and turn it into something negative. It drives me nuts. As I just accept it already for what it is, a compliment. It's nowadays you trying to compliment somebody, they think it's a come on or something, and it's ridiculous. I mean, not everything is that oriented, but anyway.
But just went with not as fat as on telly. And there's nothing I could say, but cheers, mate.
Now, when you said cheers, mate, did you say that because because I'd say cheers, mate, because I'd be a little bit scared of them.
No, I was
I'd
just,
be
it
worried about
was
the
like
repercussions.
sarcasm, and I laughed after. Yeah.
So you can get away with sarcasm with working class blokes.
I'm a little bit more secure with a working class male
No,
than you, aren't I?
I'm terrified of them. I feel like they're going to turn on me at any minute.
You don't feel confident sort of backing in a lorry driver?
Terrified.
All right.
Because if I did, he'd probably lean out and just go and get your dad, mate.
Yeah, not you.
Fuck off, I'm not
Not you.
interested.
Yeah.
Go and get your dad.
Oh, he's only gonna read it down.
That jingle there signifying, of course, once again, another reading from the Diary of Carl Pilkington. Now, of course, for those of you who have not been keeping abreast of Carl's medical complaints, just bring us up to speed, Carl. You had to go into hospital because previously you'd had
I've been in
treatment.
and out, honestly. I've been in and out of that hospital just with kidney problems, really painful and what have you.
Yeah.
And
He had kidney stones, all right.
No, but
sorted.
seriously.
I had a bit of a lie-in today because I have to get up early for my operation tomorrow. Not only have I got to have tubes shoved up my knob, but I also have to get up at 5:50. Suzanne said I could have what I want for my last dinner. It's not your last dinner, you're going for an operation.
Yeah, but you can't take things for granted these days.
Oh,
I had shepherd's pie and peas. Suzanne
last
made it
dinner.
from scratch. As nice as it was annoying. Because making stuff from scratch means loads of pots, and it's my job to do the washing up. So much as the food was nice, there was loads of pans and that. People who get their last dinner on death row don't have to wash up. Got up at 5:55.
Oh, he still calls it his last
Getting
dinner.
up at 5:50 on the other page. You were 5 minutes late getting up.
He's often late.
Often late. Got to the hospital and had to wait in the waiting room. There was another 9 people in there waiting to be sorted. I got called in. They sat me on a bed and took all my details down. 5 minutes later, I'd been knocked out. I got woke up when they were ripping a pipe out of my throat. I felt more rough this time. The doctor came to see me and said he couldn't find a stone, so I must have passed it. I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, we filled your kidney with water and expanded it, and there was no hiding place." I sat in the recovery room for an hour while they found me a bed. One of the fellows who was sat in the room with me this morning got wheeled in. They couldn't wake him up. All the nurses were laughing because he didn't want to wake up. I bet they were laughing at me when I was in the theatre. Someone told me they totally strip you when they're operating. I would have looked like the alien on the Boswell incident.
Boswell!
It's quite a nice analogy if it weren't for the fact that you said Boswell. It's the Roswell incident. Didn't sleep much through the night because there was a 60-year-old fella shouting at the nurse about his pillows. I don't think I slept through a full hour with one thing or another going on. My bed was next to the toilet, so I kept hearing the flush.
How do they sleep in hospitals, though? They wake you up to give you fucking sleeping pills and things, don't they? How do you sleep in there?
I don't know what it is. There's no
Everything.
there was an old fella across
4
the road kept
hours
breaking
for
wind.
blood
They
work.
didn't even try and cover it. It was just a
Last time I was in there, it's like every 4 hours for blood work. They were taking pressures on my legs because I had a clot in my calf, and they were, for a minute there, they were starting to talk about if it got any worse, they might have to amputate because my whole foot went numb like in a second. I mean, completely numb to where I couldn't feel it anymore. And so I went to the ER and they life flighted me from one hospital over to another one where they have a vascular team. So yeah, it's not fun in the hospital. I've been in there plenty of times during my life. That was the weirdest one. That's the first time I've ever had to be life flighted somewhere. But then life flighted me to the second hospital just so I could sit in the waiting room for 4 hours waiting on a bed. So I get where he's coming from for that. That's ridiculous.
There was an old fella across from me who kept breaking wind. He didn't even try and cover it. He was just of that age where he didn't care. Just like, that's what I do. I'm in the hospital, leave me alone.
What do you mean?
Just, I don't know what was wrong with him. I talked to him because at first I felt sorry for him. I was a little bit like, he's had no visitors. No one's calling him up, so I'll talk to him. But then he got that familiar with me that he'd just be doing it whilst I'm chatting to him. Just like he's my granddad or something. It's just like, oh, that's what he does. It's like, well, I'm ill as well. Stop doing that. Honestly, unbelievable. He didn't even try and cover it with a cough. It was just like, that's...
Cough! How would you cover it with a cough?
Just non-stop.
Got home and sat down. My pains are coming back, but the doctor said this would happen, that my insides are still in shock, so I need to take it easy. It's 9 o'clock. I'm in agony. I can't do the diary for the rest of the day.
Jesus.
So you may as well just tell us then what happened.
Suzanne just got frustrated with me because I was rolling about on the floor and she was trying to watch Arthur. Right? So that was on the other night.
I thought it was with your lodger.
So,
And she said, look, if you're in pain, do something. She said,
you went and got a cold plate.
Yeah. No, use an ashtray. Plates are for liver damage.
Got in a taxi.
Oh, God.
He filled up on the way, which was annoying.
He did it.
Cheeky.
That really, I mean, he could
On
see
the
I was
way
in
to the
pain.
hospital.
So,
Because he's not an ambulance driver.
so anyway, he gets us there and he doesn't charge us, which was pretty decent.
Oh, that's all right, yeah.
So this gay fella came through. And,
How do you know he was gay?
just the way he was. I'm not having a go. He was a good fella. Do you know what I mean?
A doctor, you mean?
No, he was a nurse.
Right.
And he came through and just sort of went, oh, how are you? And I was like, oh, I've had better days. So he got
As
me
you
on
mentioned in the diary, I remember the first time when I came here, they said the nurse might put a tablet up my arse. I thought the chances of that happening had just increased.
Oh, God!
Yeah, but I would have let him do it. Honestly, I was that sort of out of it.
Of course you'd let him do it. He's a qualified nurse.
No, but
my God.
the way I am now, say if it was just a tablet for sorting out my blood pressure, and I walked in there and he went, oh, hello. And he said, yeah, let's pop that. I'd go, hang on a minute. but what I mean is that night, I would have just let him put 3 up, honestly. It's just weird, isn't it, how your body just goes, let them get on with it, and you trust anyone, don't you? When you're in that much pain and you need
And
help.
they're a qualified nurse, yes. Carl, of course, has written a poem about the experience entitled
Oh,
My
God.
Ward.
All I've done here, I've been through I don't know
Carl's
what the word
poetry,
is,
yeah.
a bad experience.
Trauma.
A trauma, yeah. I've been through a load of trauma. So I'm just finishing it off with a little sort of picture for people.
Go on then.
Me, a Chinese fella, and an old bloke who looked like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Don't know what was wrong with him, but breaking wind was the symptoms. No one visited him or called him. He seemed quite lost to me. As well as wind problems, he had a colostomy.
Back.
When I left, I said, see you to the old man. Turned out the other fella wasn't Chinese. He was from Japan. I never found out what was up with him. You've got a little picture there, haven't you, of me sat in my ward. I'm sat there with that fella who I didn't talk to, the old fella who had wind problems. And that's what a poem is, isn't it?
But the detail about you thought he was Chinese and he turned out to be Japanese, how is that evocative? That's just a piece of misinformation.
It's just
I like it.
I imagine a lot of people make
I
the
like
same
it 'cause
mistake.
you know
It's
why?
a plot twist.
It's like he even makes digressions within his poem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like he could have gone back and erased that, but he didn't. He left that digression in, and I think that's great.
It's very honest. Had a late night last night because I stayed up to watch a programme about monkeys.
Oh, God.
It's already good.
Of course he did.
It's already good.
Now, before I read on, I mean, is this not some kind of monkey news? Is this not a late return to monkey news?
Well, it's not that good.
Is it not? Whereas the other monkey news is,
Oh, chimpanzee, that's some more shit.
this is what he says. This is what he gleaned from the programme about monkeys. It sat on a bridge and wanted stuff off people to walk over the bridge.
What?
So it was acting as some kind of toll booth,
This
was
is
it?
ridiculous.
No, it was a bridge in like the jungle.
Oh,
What?
shut the fuck up.
And it's a monkey that sat on a bridge, and a lot of tourists go through the area.
No, it's a
Oh my
monkey
God.
who realised that if he sits there, he'll get stuff because it look like it's a cute little chimp begging.
Right?
No, but every time.
Yeah, because you
Yep.
give a monkey, you give it. I'm as bad as him
That's
now.
a learned
You give a
behaviour.
chimpanzee
It's a learned behavior. If one person feeds it, it's going to assume that everyone's going to start feeding it. And when everybody starts giving it stuff because it's begging, then it's a learned behavior. It stops foraging for itself. That's why you're not supposed to feed wild animals, because they stop acting the way they're supposed to act and start relying on that food. But yeah, it's just
Yeah,
the way it is.
You give a monkey, you give it. Oh, I'm as bad as him now. If you give a chimpanzee a banana, and he starts realising that humans have things to give.
Yeah, but it's all
Squirrels
sorts of
learn that.
Yeah,
You, go,
they do.
you wouldn't say, went to the park, the squirrel's waiting at the gate. You have to give them a toll to go in. They don't do anything to give them a nuts. They come up to you every time. You fucking idiot.
Went to bed after watching it and fell asleep thinking about it on the bridge right now. It's a bit bad, really, because the monkey should work harder for its food. It made me remember the slug I saw yesterday that was eating bird poo. Nobody would ever help a slug with food like they do with ducks and monkeys. A slug's life is pretty bad. The only time they come out of their den is when it's raining.
Den.
So even their
Their
days
den?
out are depressing.
It is. Do you know what I mean?
No.
They're
It
dead.
is like, it's a horrible thing to be, innit? A slug.
Look, we're talking about what is it like to be a slug.
No, just because like the monkey, even though it's been quite aggressive, everyone was like, "Oh, give it some water," and it was well like kitted out. It had like chocolate bars, bottled water, some like fizzy stuff, and all that.
An iPod, it was listening to Monkey News.
He could have had one if it wanted one. It was getting away with murder on that bridge, and that's just because it was furry. Yeah, if that was like a blob, like a slug, there's no way people would be that friendly towards it. And it just annoys me how you get this pecking order for like no matter what creature you are, favouritism. And that slug was only eating that bird poo because it wasn't being offered stuff.
If it was offered toffees or whatever.
Well, it's just sad, isn't it? It's come to that. That's what its life has come to.
That's Mollusk that's down on its fucking luck.
It didn't live in a big country house,
No,
and his wife
it
left
is.
it. The
I
kids
was-
when it
I
started
was
hitting the
watching
ball.
it, and I kind of thought, and look, they do only come out in the rain, and it's depressing, and it'll probably get killed in a bit. And that was its last meal. I just
But it wouldn't
care.
prefer steak and chips, Carl. It
no,
doesn't
a leaf.
have.
It must like a leaf, or at the end of the day, it's an insect. They love a
It's
leaf.
not an insect.
Well, it's part of that gang. It's
Oh
part of
my
that.
god.
No, it's part of
They
that.
hang out together. They hang out
No, it's
together.
not.
Why do you think it's part of that
Because
gang?
it knocks about in the woods in the same place as a spider does. But what I'm saying is they're eating boring stuff because that is what's
It's
in
not
their
boring
area.
stuff to them. They're not. I have no opinion of it at all. They take in sustenance.
No, but where you
Yeah.
are is what you eat. When I'm in London, I'll have beans on toast for lunch. On holiday, what? Tapas? Go on, I'll have a bit. So it's whatever you eat, what's in that area.
Suzanne went off to work and I went to the shop to buy some
Okay.
envelopes. The shop was empty, but the fella behind the counter was on the phone and just kept talking even though he could see I was waiting. I started to count backwards from 20. When I got to 6, he hung up and served me. I won't use the shop again. Question, why count backwards from 20?
So he's thinking, what's going to happen at 1? If I start counting from 1, he's going, well, let him carry on.
What, out loud?
So not really loud, but like more of a mouth action, so he could see who was doing it. Do you know, like
Sorry, you just started miming counting backwards to a man in a shop.
He's on the phone. The shop
Yes.
is empty. I
Yes.
thought he'd like me custom. He could have served me and stay on the phone. Even though I don't like that, at least he's still doing what he needs to do.
I'd have said,
working in a
sorry,
shop.
can I just get these, please?
Yeah. Well, I stood there and I thought, it's annoying me now. My kidneys aching and I started to get a bit of a sweat on. So I thought, right,
You
I'm
should have
going to
said
give him
something.
20 seconds, and if he hasn't got off the phone, I'm leaving. Again,
You are
giving
one
yourself,
of the strangest people.
It's just giving yourself a thing. I could have been stood there for
Free.
ages.
He's one of the strangest
Yeah, they do
people
say
who's
something.
free to walk
Yeah.
It's
the
about
street.
God. All he had to do was say something to him. I'm sure it would have served him, but yeah, it's it is. You gotta open your mouth and speak. I tell my kid that all the time. It's like you don't know until you ask for something. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't know until you ask, or someone tells you. But anyway, yeah.
I'm leaving. Again,
You are
giving
one
yourself,
of the strangest people.
It's just giving yourself a thing. I could have been stood there for
Free.
ages.
He's one of the strangest people who's free to walk.
Yeah.
It's
the
about
streets.
no. I set myself a little target, and I thought I don't want to waste another 30 seconds in here. I'll give him 20. It worked. He served me at 6.
But it didn't work. Yeah, but did he do it because you were doing that, or did he finish his phone call?
I don't know, I was busy counting.
I like that. I don't know. I was busy counting. He wasn't even paying attention to the phone call. Oh, God. I gotta love Carl. Just the way his mind works. Oh, my God. This is good. You'll have to let me know what you thought about this in the comments, and let me know what else to look for. Like I said, if you're still here, please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what to look for, and make sure you tap the notification bell so you know when I drop more content. That is going to just about do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this with me as much as I enjoyed watching it with you, and I hope to see you on the next one. I love you guys. Peace.